Hey all, welcome back to the Hardcore Fab Shop. We got the old bus back in town today, and we're gonna do a little maintenance on the darn thing. Figured I'd bring you guys along for the ride on that because you guys seem to like the bus. So we don't have anything too major going on here. One thing that has happened to it since we've been back from our trip on our trip that we did with the Rat Rod magazine, Rat Rod tour, ended up doing 3,000 miles on its maiden voyage, and it did pretty good for the most part. We had a couple little hiccups, and we're going to deal with a couple of those hiccups now. And then we also have developed a couple more things since then. So one of the things that we've developed since then is we had a sway bar in link lose a nut, and then we also had a sway bar bushing that we had come loose. So now that thing is sitting around in there and just banging around all over the place and sounds terrible. So got to get some bushings in that and a nut back on there. The other thing maintenance wise, like drivetrain wise and stuff, is on the little tiny O-rings that are on the tubes that come out of the oil cooler spot right on the radiator there. There's a tube with a clip and a little O-ring. If you guys have messed with it, you know what I'm talking about. If not, it's just a little O-ring on the end of a tube, and it must have a crack in it, or it must have gotten torn or something from messing with it when we put everything all back together, and it is now starting to leak just a little bit. So leaking a little oil there. Might as well just take care of that real quick and make sure we're not dripping anything or leaking anything anywhere on that. And then inside, let me take you in there real quick. Inside, we have got an issue with our inverter. So we had the 12 volt battery in here from Vatrer, and it's kind of tight in here. You can kind of see 12 volt battery there from Vatrer, and then we had, let me get you here. So that's our inverter. It was an 1800 watt inverter coming down to the 12 volt battery. Vatrer hooked us up with that battery, and it was a 460 amp hour battery, and it's actually worked out pretty darn good in here while we got to use the inverter. It was the last day or so that the inverter kind of messed up, and we kind of had some issues there or whatever, but we were still able to use the AC because the AC is 12 volt, so that was nice. But we could not use our little fridge over here that we had all of our extra stuff in. So my mom pulling up. So, long story short, Vatrer seen the video and seen that we're having problems with our inverter, and they decided to send one out to us. So I just pulled out of the box here and got it thrown up here on the counter. I'm going to throw that in real quick here, and we're going to see if we can't make our refrigerator work again. All right, well, I've looked through the owner's manual a little bit here, and I've kind of went through what they sent us for leads and stuff like that. They actually give us quite a few little options for leads here. The only problem is that the leads that they sent us all have just a little bit too small a hole here in the one end for my bus bar. I've got a big giant bus bar in there, and it's got like a 3/8 bolt in it, and none of these are that big. So I am going to have to change the end on one end of these just to be able to make this work, but not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here in just a second. To be able to put these on, looks pretty straightforward. There was some little covers on here, and just like on our battery, they had a nice little cover over there. It's easy to access and pull off and get to the wire, and just got a nut on there. So I'm going to go change this out real quick. We'll be back, and we'll get these on, and we'll try to get this thing mounted. All right, I got the ends switched out there. You can see we got a lot bigger hole on that end than this end, so we're ready to go ahead and get these bolted on. I did go ahead and make a video over on the Tips and Tools Tuesday channel on how to change out these ends if anybody's interested and needs to know. I'll get these bolted on here first because the end of this thing goes right up against that cabinet, and even though I can get to it, it was going to be way easier down here. So the other side just goes on with a nut, and really the only thing you got to keep in mind is that the end of this little cover has got a spot for the wire to go through, and you want to make sure and leave room for that, of course. So we put a little cover on there, and then there's a little plastic nut that threads on top of that to hold the cover on. Pretty well good to go. I'm even going to cinch that down just a little tiny bit with the wrench. Not super tight, but just enough. Let's slip this positive one on there. We'll be ready to rip down the old inverter. I can't give too much of a hard time to the old inverter because it was something that I got used a long time ago. Haven't used it much, so that part kind of sucks, but it isn't anything that's remotely new, so it is what it is. This does have a little lock washer on there too underneath the nut, so shouldn't have too big of an issue with anything coming loose here or anything. And again, slot for the wire to come through and our little cover and a nut. All right, let's pop this old one off the wall here. So this one was just an 1800 watt deal. Like I said, older unit. We were really trying to push it with trying to run the refrigerator and doing some stuff like a coffee pot and some other things at the same time. Let's let the wasp out. Shoo shoo, little buddy. Go on. Go away. So I just self-tapping screwed this thing up to the wall before, or the other one up to the wall before, and this one is a lot bigger, but I think it's going to go up here as well, pretty easy. Okay, that wasn't too bad to mount. Actually fits up there about perfect, almost like we had measured that out to go there. I guess now I need to get a wrench and put those lines on down there under our bus bar, and we should be able to start trying this thing out. Okay, we got that hooked up. I should note that I did have the power turned off from the battery, so there wasn't anything live while I was doing any of that. I am now going to turn the battery on though, and we'll see if this thing powers up. To turn it on, it's just got a little button down there on the end. And then also I believe there is a button to turn on here too. Let's see. Well, there we go. That's powered up and seems to be working. I'm going to test it out here in just a little bit, but I know that our battery is pretty low and needs to be charged. So I want to go ahead and charge that first. So I'm going to string cord out here, get that going. And the way it charges right now, at least for now, the time being, since we don't have the auxiliary alternator anymore, the only way I can do it is with the charger that Vatrer sent us for the battery. So it's a 110 deal. Haven't really showed you guys that too much yet. I should show you that. It's a 110 deal, and it just plugs into a regular 110 outlet. So I'll get a cord out here, we'll get this thing charging, and we'll come back and play with it a little bit later when we got some other stuff done. But until then, we'll go out here and mess with some of the other stuff we got to mess with on the bus. So another thing we're going to deal with while we're here is the extra alternator situation that we had going on. So we'd put an extra alternator on here to be able to charge the Vatrer battery while we're driving down the road. Well, we lost the idler pulley that actually comes with the bracket to be able to bolt on the extra alternator. We didn't technically lose it, but it was squalling and making all kinds of noise. So we stopped along the way there, and when we stopped, I took the belt off and I checked everything, and everything was tight, but that one bearing in that tensioner, or that idler, was so tight that you just spin it and it wouldn't even make a full revolution around before it stopped. And I'm like, okay, well, that's our problem. So we went ahead and went on down the road to be able to try to go get one of those and replace it while we were driving. And while we were doing that, the nut came off of the alternator. So then that was pre-installed. So long story short, we don't have an alternator, and we returned that, and now we're going to return this bracket right here that's bolted to the motor, and also the little pulley that goes with it, and get our money back on that. And I guess we'll have to find something else that we can use in its place. But for now, we've got to get it off. Your eBay returns.
Thank you.
So we got everything apart for our oil cooler line so we can fix the O-ring that's in there is messed up. So this is the fitting that goes into the radiator, and then the line just pushes right into the end of that. It's got this little clip on it. Kind of reminds me of like the old school clips that used to be on the window cranks in the 70s and stuff. If you remember what those are like. So there's just an O-ring inside there, way down deep inside there. I don't know if you guys can see it. And on the back side, there's another O-ring back here to be able to seal it up to the radiator. So screw this thing back in there, pop the line in, we'll be good to go. So I found another little situation in here while I was playing around, and that was the hose going from the power steering pump up to the power steering pump reservoir up here on the firewall. I thought I got some video of it before I ripped it all off and threw it away, but I guess I didn't have the camera on. But anyways, long story short, the hose was just sitting there just sweating power steering fluid. I don't understand what that's all about. Some really good quality hose that they have at O'Reilly's, I guess. I don't know. I didn't think power steering fluid was that aggressive to where it would go through a hose, but apparently it is. So I got some better stuff now from Rose Motor, so it ought to be good here on this. I'm gonna stick that on there and fill that thing back up, and I think after that we'll be looking pretty good here underneath the hood. At least I hope so, for a while anyways. Be ready to run her back down the road and find out. So we finished up that bit of stuff yesterday on the bus, yesterday evening, and today we are trying to get some stuff done in preparation to go down to our local rod run. And one of the things we need to do is actually put a tag on this thing. When we did the trip with it, we had a paper tag on it, but when we got back, this was in the mail, and the paper tag is now expired, so this needs to go on somewhere in there. I don't want to have to take this plate off every time and put a nut on there, so I think we're going to just drill some holes out and put some nut certs in here and screw her on. So yeah, my drill situation's that sad to where I actually have to step it 3 times just to get through a piece of sheet metal. But it seems like bits just don't last, I don't know. And I've never been very good at trying to sharpen them and get it to actually have an edge and stay there. There we go, we got a tag. I'll grab a screwdriver and tighten this up and think about what else we got to do here real quick. So one of the things we were dealing with on the trip was this tire right here kept going flat on us. Wasn't going all the way flat, but we were losing about 40 to 50 and then almost 50 pounds of air a day by the time it was all said and done. So every day we would have to go around and we'd have to try to find some air someplace to air up, and it's a semi tire, so it's not like you can just go to a regular gas station because they won't pump 100 pounds of air pressure at a regular gas station. So we'd have to go around and find a truck stop or something somewhere and get some air in this thing. But we got back here, we actually stopped on the way and tried to have somebody fix it for us, and they couldn't find the leak. We got back here and we went to our local tire store and they found the leak for us. The problem was actually the wheel. The wheel had a crack in it, kind of back up in the center of the wheel. I don't know why or how or what, but it was cracked and it was leaking. So since they didn't find the leak at the time, I didn't worry about putting these covers back on, and I kind of had in my back of my head we'd stop someplace else and have somebody else look at it, but we never did. We just kept airing it up. And I guess it wouldn't have mattered anyways because we don't have an extra wheel with us. But now we got a different wheel on there, and I actually just spent a little bit of time this morning polishing that thing up a little bit. It ain't super great, but at least with these covers back on there, I don't think you'll notice quite how bad it is anyways. It's better than it was before. We're actually missing one of those because right before we left, Julie dropped a board on one and broke it off, and they're just plastic. So we need to do something about that whole situation anyways. So I still got a whole laundry list of stuff that I would like to do to this thing. I'd like to make a little piece of something here to put on there and cover up those spots. I want to go ahead and fix the windshield because that's horrible to see through. I need to go ahead and build a visor for it. Some windshield wipers wouldn't even be too bad of a deal, you know, if we're really kind of going to go all out and be all bougie. And possibly even some front turn signals. That wouldn't necessarily be so bad either. And, well, or just turn signals in general, I guess. Front and back, because we don't have any on either end. Bumper on the front, bumper on the back. That'd be pretty good. And then I would really like to go ahead and paint this thing too. And by paint it, I don't mean really change it too much, but I actually want to like grunge it up and kind of make it look even more distressed than it already even is, if you can imagine that. So I've got some ideas for that I think are going to be pretty killer. Can't wait to do that, but unfortunately right now we just can't take any more time away from all the other stuff that we've got to do here in the shop to be able to do that. So it's going to probably just kind of be a here and there every once in a while on the weekends and evenings type of thing like I'm doing now, and we'll slowly get there, I guess. So now back inside, I do have this thing charging with the charger, and that's what that noise is down there. That might be one of my only complaints about any of this so far, is that the charger is a little bit loud, but at the same time, what do you expect? It is throwing some pretty good juice into this battery, and it's going to have a fan to cool it. So I don't know if there would be any options that would be any better. It's just a slightly annoying loud noise, but not that big of a deal. I was actually able to sleep through it when we were, you know, in the bus sleeping and it was charging, so it's all good. Anyways, there's one more thing in here with all of this that I'd like to address, and that is kind of, you know, knowing where our battery situation's at. So Vatrer is pretty cool. They've got, you know, all the cool new latest greatest stuff going on, like with their batteries. Not only is that battery heated, but it's also got a Bluetooth system in it that you can tie to your phone, get their app, and then you can just look at it and you can see, you know, where it's at as far as charging wise and everything. That's all cool if you're cool kid and like to look at your phone for everything, but I'm a little bit old school and I don't really want to put more apps and more stuff on my phone, especially since it's my main thing that I'm using like right now to shoot video for you guys. So with that said, I kind of want a screen to be able to go ahead and mount here somewhere and give us all of the information we need about our battery rather than having to have an app. I would go in here and grab Julie. I'll let her show you guys the app for that, and then I'll show you what my answer is going to be able to not use the app.
He doesn't like to clog his phone up with extra apps, but somehow I end up with all the extra apps. It's getting deep. But I do like the Vatrer app. It's right here. The battery is charging at 87%. We used this app a lot on our trip because it let me know how that was doing, because since the alternator went out on us, we didn't have a way to charge the battery so very easily. I mean, we had to stop to do it. So, and it was running our fridge and stuff. So I was always pulling it up, see how it was doing. Battery actually was just doing great. We only needed to charge it a couple of times actually on the whole trip. Once with the generator and once with the plugging it into the wall. But anyway, that's the app. I don't know. He said for me to show it to you. So there you go. It lets you know the temperature. It lets you know how each cell in the battery is performing. Current app. It's total voltage, power, all stuff that I have no idea what means, to be honest with you. And
the biggest one, how much, where the charge is at.
Is exactly where it's at, and it's currently charging, and it's at 87%. So.
Which we can probably unplug now and go ahead and try out the inverter and see if we can turn on the fridge.
Yeah, we could do that. That would be great. The power inverter.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. Let's see. Just unplug the.
Yep.
Okay. And plug it into here.
No, you don't plug the.
Oh, you don't.
Don't plug the charger into the inverter.
Yeah, I guess.
It's the one by your foot.
You want me to plug the refrigerator in. I can't plug it in because it's brand new and it's really tight.
That's what she said.
No, I think that would be it. Well, I don't know. Anyway, there we go. Is it on? On. That's something else I like about Vatrer, is everything has on and off buttons. Once you get used to the fact that everything has on and off buttons.
And then is it working?
Is the inverter plugged into the battery?
Yes, but I don't think the refrigerator is plugged into this outlet over here or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. It isn't. Not at all. We unplugged it when we were having problems with the old inverter. Couldn't keep up. So we were having to be selective, and I think the last thing we were charging was our phones. Because this table has a plug-in, and yes, there is power to the table, which is also a really nice thing that we had on the trip, is to not have to find around for plugs. You're gonna have to pull that out for me to plug that in.
Okay, we'll shut this off. Is it on now?
Yes, it is on.
Can you take that stinky thing out of there?
I can. I am not going to take the baking soda out of there.
Okay.
We put a thing in there because the refrigerator takes no time at all to smell like an old refrigerator. It's ridiculous. It's clean, but it smells stale.
Okay, so for you guys, it's only been a second since you've seen me last, but for me, it's been about 4 or 5 days since I've seen you guys. So we got everything all wrapped up with the inverters the other day, and then we got busy working and doing some stuff, and just ran out of time to be able to show you guys what I wanted to do to put in here for a monitor to monitor the battery. We did, however, go down to the local rod run here in town and had a good time down there. Met a bunch of you guys and met a bunch of new people and stuff like that too. So had a great time there, seen a bunch of cool cars, and actually watched a few pretty good burnouts. So that was all good. But back to reality now. We've got stuff to do, and this is one of the things that I wanted to do, just to kind of wrap this part of this stuff up here in this section, and also wrap up this video. So this is what I've got here. This is a little battery monitor from Vatrer, and this is specifically from them to work with their stuff. It's got this, they call it a sampler. I don't know. Looks like a bunch of brass to me, but brass with some wires coming out of it. So anyways, I guess we just mount this thing, hook up a couple of wires here, and then hook up our monitor. We'd be pretty well good to go. It looks like it comes with most everything in the kit we're going to need. It's got the little tiny wire that we need to hook up there. It's got some shielded wire here that's going to probably transfer whatever information this thing makes to that thing. It even comes with some screws and a little tiny screwdriver. So one thing we need to do here to hook this up is I need to make up one more cable like I did earlier for that one end, and I'm going to get that done real quick here and see if we can't get this thing mounted. Well, I think it's all hooked up. It's pretty simple. It just everything kind of plug and play. It lights up, showing it's got 13.1 volts. It's not showing any amp hours, but I think there's some kind of setup to do in here, if I was reading right, to get that to where it's set up so you'll know how many amp hours are left in your battery. I guess I'll try to figure that out real quick, and we'll see where we're at. Well, so this is pretty cool. Julie came out and she went through and tried to set this all up, but I think we set it up wrong, because you're supposed to set it up when the battery's fully charged, we're thinking now, and the battery wasn't fully charged because we only got it up to like 80% whatever the other day, and then we used it running the fridge all weekend. So anyways, we'll have to go through and reset that all up. And I don't know for sure where I want to put this thing. It's got plenty of cords, so we could put it about anywhere. It could go clear up here in the front, but I don't really need to know and see it while I'm driving down the road, so it might make more sense to put it up here or something. I don't know. Kind of got to just play around with this a little bit and see exactly where it's going to make the most sense to mount it. So we'll figure that out. We'll do that on another day. But anyways, pretty cool little deal. Just want to show you guys. And also want to say thank you to Vatrer for sending this stuff out to us. That's really been very helpful in this build, and I've really enjoyed having their stuff, because it's made it a lot more bearable inside here to be able to go forward with our build. So anyways, got more people pulling up now, so I'll holler at you guys all next Wednesday at 7. What's up?